Good morning, everybody, and happy Canada Day. Benita here with your July forecast. So, once again, we are using the Publishing Goblins Oracle dice, and we're starting out with the cards that came with the kit if you were lucky enough to get in early on the Kickstarter and get the cards. So, the card today is called the Alleyman card, but it came in upside down. So the message with this card is be aware of when you're placing other people's opinions of you over your own. In other words, it's saying how you feel about yourself, how you see yourself is more important than how anybody else is going to see you. And that really does play a part in today's reading, because the two die that landed in the core that really influenced the whole reading, it's the Goblin's one of, you see these little glasses? Focus on yourself. So in other words, it's saying this is very much about you working on yourself and how that influences how you see the world. So you very much want to keep the focus internal this month. Realize that a lot of times if something's going wrong in our lives, it's really easy to blame it on somebody else, make them responsible, or see them as somehow having power over us. Good morning, Barbara. Happy Canada Day to you, too. So when you're, really appreciate you guys jumping in, especially so early on Canada Day. Thank you. So a lot of times what will happen if something wrong is going on in our lives, and we say, well, it's that person doing this to me. If we think life is happening to us, we no longer have any real power to take our lives where we want them to go. So we don't want to give that power away. Happy Canada Day, Tanya, and good morning to you, Kevin. I really appreciate you guys dropping in. Thank you. You're making my day. A little bit of a scratchy throat today. And we're actually on vacation in Victoria, so you'll see the background looks a little different. So yes, again, when we come to this, it's very, very much focused on ourselves. We can't change what other people think. We can't change what people think about us. We always have a say over how we view our reality, and that's going to really play a part in today's spread. It's very much about that. How do we view ourselves? How do we view our reality? And are we acknowledging that we're creating our reality? Happy Canada Day, Kathy. Okay. So let's look at what's happening with the die around the core. We know the core is saying this is all about focusing on yourself. So we're going to start with the past. Interestingly enough, the chaos die is showing up in the past, and the symbol on it, it's kind of hard necessarily to see what that is. Hi, Diane. Thanks for joining us this morning. So the chaos die, this symbol is saying, pick up a random book, open it somewhere, and what you read is going to affect today's reading. So we're on vacation, but there are books in the suite that we're staying in, and one of them happens to be Sacred Contracts by Caroline Myss. I know a lot of you are very familiar with this book. So I opened it up to a passage. Hi, Patty. Happy Canada Day. And I'll just read the section that came to my eyes as soon as I opened it up. Not every out-of-body experience yields such dramatic results. A 65-year-old woman named Marilyn, for example, told me of an NDE, so, near-death experience, during which the divine made direct contact with her. She was revived following a heart attack that had left her clinically dead for several minutes. While I was out of my body, she said, I was embraced by the most loving being. Suddenly my life meant more to me than it ever had before, because I felt as if the whole universe somehow knew my name. I was filled with a sense of awe, and by the time I regained consciousness, I felt that I'd been allowed to live for spiritual reasons and spiritual service. Now I thank God every day for attacking my heart. So how do I relate that to today's? Again, this is a very internally focused spread for the month of July, and there are some challenges this month. So to me, the message is whatever happens to us, we're here for a spiritual purpose. We're here to serve, we're here to grow, we're here to gain awareness. We're here to wake up before we die. And if we can keep that in mind, then any of the challenges the universe brings our way, we can frame it in that. What is the spiritual purpose behind this situation I'm facing? How can I grow from it? How can it help me to serve better? You know, if we come into this life just looking for happiness, just looking for pleasure, we're going to be disappointed because life is going to present its challenges. But if we are instead saying, okay, I'm here for spiritual purpose. I came here to have this incredible ride called the Earth life, to learn and to grow and to bring that awareness back to my future experiences, wherever that takes us next. It can really help us frame the challenges along the way. And I saw your request, May. I will be doing card readings after this. Right now, this is still the July forecast, so I will get to that. Please ask me again once we get there. Okay, so also in the past, the winter one, we have the little symbol here, the snowflake, which is about things being frozen, being cold, being really hard to deal with. Understand this is coming from the past. It also has this eye symbol, and you'll see there's a little figure there. And it's basically saying, I want to be seen. I want to be seen for what I'm doing. I want people to appreciate me, to validate me. If we didn't feel we got that as children, often that hunger for validation will continue, which plays back to the Alleyman card, where we place too much focus on how other people see us and whether or not they approve of us. So we really need to let go of that this month. This is very much about focusing internally on what we need to shift and what we need to be aware of from the inside out. The world isn't happening to us. It's a reflection of our own consciousness. And the other die that falls into the past is the symbol of a sword on fire. And it's the idea of raising the past, R-A-Z-I-N-G, burning it to the ground. So it's saying take all that hunger for validation from others, all the focus on how badly you were treated as a child, and just burn it to the ground. The more you focus on that, the more you carry those patterns forward. And as you know, my primary work is to help you to see the patterns, work on them, shift them, and bring them to consciousness so that they're no longer running the show. And I see you there, Janice. Thank you so much. So that's what we're seeing for the past. Don't let the past run your life. Accept that it happened. And instead of going, oh, woe is me, these terrible things happened to me, instead you can say, my soul chose these experiences to plant the seeds for the things I came to work on in this lifetime. I'm here to grow. I'm here to develop in whatever ways I need. Therefore, I'm grateful for those experiences because they planted in me the desire for something better and the desire to grow into that. Always keep that in mind. And hi, Janice, I see you. I'm not actually pulling cards right now. I'm doing the July forecast. I will get to the mini readings. Good morning, Anya. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, Diane says closing many karmic doors. Exactly. Right? But remember, closing those doors doesn't mean suppressing anything. It doesn't mean saying, I'm done with that. I'm never going to think about it again. It means saying, this happened. I acknowledge that this happened. How do I work with that? How do I work with that in a constructive way that moves me forward and doesn't leave me in victim mode? I find a lot of times if people say, oh yeah, I'm done with that, it just comes up and bites them in the ass later because they just pushed down the feelings that were created from that experience, and they'll just come out in other ways. So we want to let up all of that stuff and work on it, bring the shadow back into the light, but we don't want to dwell in it in a way that leaves us feeling powerless. Okay, so now we move into the present, and we have 3 die here, very significantly placed. We have this one that's all about bad luck, okay? Let's keep this in perspective. With the Tower card, something happening that just floors you. Unexpected. Sometimes it's something really awful. The rug gets pulled out from under you. But here's what's interesting. Both those die fall below the seed die. And anything that's underneath it is the roots of this. The seed die represents growth. So it's saying, you're going to grow as a result of these experiences that are coming up this month. So just bear that in mind. And Charlotte says, good morning. Oh, I'm just going to slide back to that. I hope I can finally get a business going. I hope so too, Charlotte. I love that all of you are here for the mini readings. So please do stick around. I will be going through the forecast and then going right to the mini readings. So I'll just ask you to hold off asking me for cards now and do so once I've done the forecast. All right, so we really want to keep that in mind. It's saying in July something really jarring is going to happen, something really difficult, but it's absolutely necessary to your growth. So just remember that none of us ever grew inside our comfort zone. We grow because of challenging experiences that bring up from our innards our courage, our desire to change things. What's that expression that disaster is the motherhood of invention and creativity, that if things go wrong, we go, okay, I want something better, I'm going to work on that. I'm happy that you're here too, Janice. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so now we have, very interestingly enough, 3 die all clustered together under momentum. And these are really interesting because one is the cup. And basically that's, you can fill your cup with whatever you want to fill it with. It's saying life is what you make it. So it's all how you look at the other 2 die. This one is about love. It can be loving, supportive relationships, whether that's a romantic relationship or familial or friendship. It's all about that loving support in our lives. And this die represents order. So this combination of die is saying, and the cup also represents fluidity. Are you being fluid, or are you trying to control the loving support that's coming to you in your life? In other words, you might be so taken aback by the situation in July that you don't realize, oh, the universe is supporting this. People are coming to help me. I have to be willing to let that help come and not be so upset that the order of my life was thrown off that I try to control everything and I get rigid. So it's saying allow for the fluidity of support. It's going to give you the momentum to move into the future. You need that support. Let people be there for you. We have 2 die showing up in the future. One is this cute little ghost paired with this butterfly. I know that one's kind of hard to see. It's a really detailed dice. So these 2 combined, the ghost is saying, look for the motivation behind things. Sometimes it means we have to see that somebody who we thought was being a friend wasn't, but it can also be, look at your own motivation. This can be a really powerful moment for growth. Am I doing something because I'm hoping to curry favor and validation and recognition from others because I'm still running that old pattern from childhood? Or am I actually doing this because it's coming from my center? It's coming from being on a spiritual path and wanting to grow in knowledge and awareness and service to others. So it's saying examine your motivation, because with that clarity, the butterfly it's about blooming, taking off. It's very positive. So you can see that what we've got so far is, you're going to say, I'm done with the past, but don't bury the past. You need what you've learned from it to help you going forward. July is going to be jarring, but that's because you need it for the growth that's going to occur. And then you want to look at your underlying motivations. How am I responding to the jarring situation? Am I being rigid? Am I not letting people be there for me? Am I not allowing myself to be vulnerable enough to be supported by others? And what are my motivations? What are the layers of myself I have never looked at before or not looked at closely enough that I need to so I can grow? If we can learn about our shadow, our underlying motivations that maybe we'd like to think we weren't like, we can bring the shadow to consciousness and help it become a constructive, powerful part of ourselves. Now we have 2 more die under fated. So one is lead, and the other one is this eye, the eye of truth. So the message here is, yes, sometimes life can be hard, but it's designed for us to grow and discover the truth about ourselves. What can I learn about myself because I've been triggered and all this stuff is coming up for me that wouldn't come up if life was always simple. So that is our July forecast. Very much focused on our internal work and recognizing that how the world looks to us is based on how we choose to see it and whether we're letting those patterns run and not working on them.